When a teammate goes down, it hurts, but you can always bounce back with a replacement. But when a golfer is put out of commission, the whole team goes down. Sure, there are doctors and staff members, but a club's in their golfer's hand. He decides the swing of his career. For Will Zalatoris, that swing's going upward again. Now he's made his comeback at the upcoming PGA Tour event at Century. So what makes this comeback so important? First and foremost, Zalatoris is riding on a career high. Before his injury forced him to take a back seat, the American was pulling his weight on the PGA Tour, securing his first win at the Tour in Memphis. His narrow miss at Brookline abruptly terminated his playoff contention, but was a worthy finish to a good year. After more than a couple of years as usual at the big tournaments, the golfer is yet to capture that major win, which will do wonders for his career growth. So far, his name's been overshadowed by other big players. In recent times, though, the 25-year-old's commitment to becoming the biggest has seen him participate in some major tour events. Until a few months later, however, his name wasn't in contention. Suddenly, with his performance at Memphis and in Brookline, he's become a big name in the big game. This also means greater scrutiny by both fans and commentators who've been eyeing the Wake Forest boy as the next big thing. This is incredible because it was only a couple of years ago that the golfer was making his first major debut. Before then, it had all been college-level stuff, though you can be sure he made the most of that too. His drive got him a T6 finish at the 2020 US Open before an incredible second-place finish at the 2020 Masters. Now, his fast pace is catching up with him as a series of injuries laid him down for bed rest after the PGA Championship in 2022, following up on why Will's injury took him off the roster for 3 months. Tragedy strikes when you least expect it, and Will's multiple herniated discs were nothing short of tragic. It certainly broke his momentum after a quick takeoff in his career and a lean performance at the 2022 Masters and a nail-biting bid for playoff contention at the PGA Championship. Luckily, it also presented an opportunity to think and reassess how he wanted to play things going forward. You might think 2 years of a pro career doesn't make 3 months out of work too hard on a player's career, but in golf, where the stakes are riding on a few short years in the prime of your life, unless you're Tiger Woods, any time out is incredibly difficult to consider, not to mention painful. 2 herniated discs feel just as bad as it sounds, and that's a world of pain in itself. On top of that, losing out on good form and starting from scratch with conditioning and therapy is quite an ordeal. But this is also the stuff champions are made of, and if Will wants to replay his success at the recent PGA Tour as well as the TPC Colorado Championships back in 2020, he's got a lot more setbacks to look forward to. After all, even Tiger Woods is not immune from brutal injuries. Perhaps it's the opposite. It's the body's way of telling you it needs to take a breather. Rather wisely, the 25-year-old contender listened to his body and came back swinging at the Century. Let's look at the rehabilitation process of the 2020 Masters runner-up. In a surprising twist of fate, plus 2 of his discs, the young Wake Forest recruit found himself staring at quite a different training ground than he was used to. Instead of the golf course, it was the rehabilitation ward he had to face. In these moments, bigger names than Will have lost motivation. Instead, the 175-pound golfer punched way above his weight in terms of championships won and actually took the problem seriously. His immediate goal was to get ready for the course again. In this deep dive, he was helped by his trainer and team doctor, both of whom assured him that this was a regular motor pattern problem. Digging deeper, they also found that his form was pushing his back to work harder and causing the back to give out the way it did. Perhaps this was a blessing in disguise for the player, who certainly sees it as a hard step to change his swing, but also a necessary one. His dedication to his health's a reminder of the dedication the player has towards his game. Up next, Will headed to the Century for his big comeback opportunity. Lots of changes in store then, and a deeper understanding of his own body when it came to the course had made both the player and his fans excited for the big return. At Century, the difference in his form was noticeable as he's taken down the length of his driver shaft from 46 inches to nearly 44 and has maintained his speed for the time being. All of his and Dr. Rose's efforts saw the player return with a shorter drive, better speed, and most importantly, a more centered position behind the club. Still, any change takes a long time, and betting on a change in strategy, especially a winning one, is a huge bet. It's probably not the final form for the new and improved Will Zalatoris, but his 6 top 10 positions in his last 3 years have all shown he's capable of some great things. The fact that he can be even more efficient in his swings is an exciting prospect for the whole sport, and both tactically and financially beneficial for the player. Coming up, the expectations for the golfer are are huge. There are a lot of expectations weighing on the 6'2" player's back. No wonder it needed a rest. With his rising profile in the game, he's back to hitting balls after 138 days off the golf course. The century was the green signal for his return, but the American also had big money riding on him to succeed. After his first major PGA Tour win at St. Jude, the player's profile blew up in a big way. This saw him landing not just his tour earnings, but also a shot at the top of the FedEx Cup leaderboard. His total earnings at the Tour Championship do not end there, because he's eligible for a total of $18 million if he keeps this up. The trouble with his back might have slowed him down, but with a return to form at Century, he's got plenty of time before the Tour Championship resumes on August 25th. The close call in recent times and his first major brush with injury have seen the golfer go through a chaotic year. He went to the heights of his game to date and still ended up low to the ground after a painful close to the year. But the young player is not unfamiliar with close finishes and a hard-knock career. His career's seen him reach the runner-up position in 3 Masters events in 2 years alone. Now he's geared up for a major event win with both heart, talent, hard work, and yes, wallet on the line. Not to mention, the American's performance at the Century is a trial run. You can check it out for yourself. The hype's pretty legit on the American golfer. He's also determined to make the most of his time out. It definitely shows in his recent third round at the 2023 Century Tournament. Hitting 7 out of 15 fairways and almost all 18 greens in regulation, the player's now tied for 16th position. The scores might not tell you the whole story though, which comes from the golfer's long-term strategy changes. After his back injury, he's determined to put things in perspective both health-wise and also in terms of career longevity. Teeing off after 12 weeks, or to be precise 138 days since his last event, he's also shaking off a bit of rust. Whether he shines bright underneath remains to be seen, but as far as we can see, he's willing to give it the best he's got. What's more, the golfer's convinced his timeout's good in the long run. Change is always scary, but sometimes there's no option but to embrace it. After his injury, the American's become more mindful of the need for balance in both his personal and professional life. At his age, only 26, things are in high gear most of the time. You're reaching for the title shot, the first win at a major, a bigger endorsement, and so on. All this activity in the middle of a full regular golf season can take a toll on the best of them. Will seems to be very conscious of this as he's starting to take in the big picture and think about longevity. As someone who's just started out his career, this is a very mature handling of the situation. Plus, the sooner he recognizes his weaknesses, the faster he can turn them into his strengths. He's also grown more patient with the changes. This might be wishful thinking, but he's got his mindset right this time. Gradual changes win the race. This shows in his newer strategy. Technically, nothing's changed with his swing. 3 months is a short time for both rehabilitation and relearning his swing style. Instead, he's adjusted the way he cues the ball. This change in setting up the ball means he doesn't have to punish his back as much with each swing. Over time, we're sure he'll also take on board some long-term changes, but for now, his return's guaranteed to, if not top, then at least match his last year's performance. Last but not least, will the Wake Forest contender win a major this year? If you'd asked us this question even a year ago, we might have said no. Now it's very much on the cards. Just as victories make winners, injuries, and how you deal with them, make champions. In Will's case, he's had a bit of both, victories and injuries. His response to them has also been encouraging, with the golfer showing impressive determination in the face of his setbacks. It's also made him even more determined to get a major win this year. For sure, a win at a major event would be the perfect way to cap a year that started off with a comeback like his. That's all for this video. What do you think of Will Zalatoris' chances of a major win this year? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you liked the video, do press the like button. And as always, remember to hit the subscribe button for more such content. We'll see you in the next one.